Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Connor. And today I'm going to be talking to all of the buyers who are frustrated with losing maybe one or maybe multiple offer situations where you wanted a home and unfortunately 1, 2, 5, 10 people right now with this market wanted it too and also put an offer in. So I'm going to be breaking down the top 3 tips I have for you right now of how to win that. And it's going to build off of the top 3 tips I made before a few weeks ago last month, which you should check out on my YouTube channel because those 3 are very important as well. But if you're ready, let's get to it. So my first 3 tips that I shared in the previous video, in my opinion, were more of the core. It's more of the core strategy. These 3 tips that I'm going to give you are 3 more unique tactics I'm using right now just to differentiate my buyers from the other 5 people who want the same home and are offering, guess what, about the same amount. So that's going to be the idea with this one. Tip number 1 is going to be a maxed out pre-approval letter. What I mean by a maxed out pre-approval letter is normally, let's say you're buying a house for $400,000. Normally, if let's say that list price was $420,000, and you were offering $400,000 and you were pre-approved for $500,000, for example, you wouldn't want to give them that letter for $500,000 because you just put in an offer $20,000 below what they listed at, and that's going to show them, hey, actually, I can afford up to $500,000. I just don't think your home is worth it. And that's not going to go very well. But if you're in a multiple offer situation, then you're not going to be offering $20,000 below list price. It's just not realistic. So in this situation, actually, you want to show that $500,000 approval letter when you give, let's say, $420,000 when they listed at $420,000 and you give a $420,000 offer, because you want to show, hey, I'm not stretching myself financially for $420,000, and there is no doubt in my mind or my lender's mind that I can close this deal. Number 2 is going to be to stand out and be different with a cover letter. And before you do that, have your agent reach out to the listing agent and find out what's the seller's situation. What made them want to put their home on the market? Are they moving somewhere? Is there anything else that could be put into the deal that would be very appealing to the seller? Maybe like a rent back period or a longer close with the ability to push it up, shorter inspection period. What different terms would make additional flexibility that would be very appealing for the seller? And those things are not only things you're going to want to put into the deal itself in terms of the offer, but also into your cover letter. And you might be thinking, well, Connor, do people even care about cover letters? And the truth is, some will and some won't. But for the people who won't, it's not all wasted effort, because putting in that cover letter is going to separate you from the other people who all look the same. They're using the same contract, they're around the same price, they're all pre-approved, they're either cash or conventional or VA or FHA or whatever they are. So you need to separate yourself, at least in the seller's mind. It's going to give you that a little bit of an edge, even if it's not a huge edge. You want every possible advantage you can get, and differentiation is key. The 3rd tip is going to remove as many contingencies as possible. So a couple contingencies that are going to come up in your contract are going to be your inspection contingency, your financing contingency, and your appraisal contingency. And I want to say up front that I caution to remove any of these because your earnest money deposit is going to be put at risk if you remove any of these contingencies. But it is going to make your offer a little bit more competitive and a little bit more of a sure thing for the seller. The inspection contingency, I don't recommend removing, but what you can do is you can have an inspector come with you to the showing if you know you're really going to like the home and want to put an offer in. And then they can tell you up front, hey, here's X, Y, and Z as far as some issues or anything like that. And if that gives you enough comfort, then maybe you can go ahead and just remove the inspection period. Number 2, which is the one that is more popular in terms of removing, is going to be the appraisal contingency. Now, basically what that means is if you have removed the appraisal contingency and the property that you offered to purchase at $400,000 only appraises for $390,000, then your deposit is going to be at risk of being lost to the seller if you try to back out of the contract because you can't bring that extra $10,000 to the table to fill that gap between where it appraised at $390,000 and the $400,000 that you said you were going to buy. This is where you need a good agent to make sure that they know the numbers and they know, roughly speaking, maybe within a $5,000 margin, where the property is going to appraise out based on the comparable data, because that's going to give you the comfort to go ahead and either remove the contingency or not. The last one is the financing contingency. You can also remove that one if you're 100% confident you're going to get approved for the loan. Maybe you're buying a $200,000 condo and you're really approved for $750,000, and there's not any looming credit issues in the background that your lender hasn't found or anything like that. And so maybe you remove the financing contingency. And again, that can also help the seller to feel like you are 100% going to fulfill your obligations, close the deal out, and you're the person to work with. So number 3, guys, again, removing the contingencies is going to be the inspection contingency, the appraisal contingency, and then the financing contingency. And before you move any of those, you're definitely going to want to talk with a trusted real estate agent to make sure that this is actually a smart decision to do, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. All right, guys, so those are my 3 top tips to really stand out and be more competitive as a buyer in this very competitive seller's market. Number 1, your maxed out pre-approval letter. Number 2, be different with a cover letter that not only incorporates what the seller is looking for into the offer, but also into the cover letter. And then number 3, removing contingencies. But again, be very careful when you do that and make sure you know the ramifications for that. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop a comment below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. And if you like real estate, if you want to learn more about it, whether it's specific topics like this, market updates, or anything in between, go ahead and check out my YouTube channel where I make more videos that are just like this and super easy to understand. But that's it for me today, guys. So until next time, this is Conor Green. Have a great day.